Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Bright Side of Beauty podcast presented by Beyond Skin Aesthetics. Today's episode is so fun because my guest is here in studio with me, but she's also somebody who has transformed and really guided my career in the aesthetics industry. And I think it's by accident, to be honest, intentionally, but also a little bit by accident. Our relationship started by meeting at Aesthetic Next several years ago. And my guest picked me out of the room, out of the blue, and saw something in me that I didn't see in myself yet. And she just got to know me on a personal level before it then transferred into a professional place. She's introduced me to some of my dearest friends on this earth. And really, there's been so much flourishment that has come from our relationship together. She's been an integral part of this podcast growing as well. She used to send me debriefs as I was just getting started of things that she loved about it or ideas that she had. And that also stemmed into Beyond Skin Aesthetics and our success in office too. She's a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait for you to get to know a little bit more about her and how she got to where she's at today, and basically what just led to her brilliance and her wisdom inside the industry and in life together. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Heather Goodchild to the Bright Side of Beauty podcast.
Thanks, Delaney. What an introduction.
You are just such a phenomenal human being, and that is really what I want to make sure that my listeners are able to learn a little bit more about you and your mind and your brilliance in today's episode, because you have so much to share. And I know we're only going to get a little pea-sized amount of what is inside of that noggin of yours today, but I would love to start at the beginning of how you got started in aesthetics, and then we can just let the conversation flow from there. So how'd you get started in aesthetics?
How did I get started? So, your mom is such an influence, and your dad, right, are such an influence on you and how you've evolved, and for me too. So my dad was an entrepreneur, owned his own business, but prior to that, he helped open grocery stores in Hawaii and even helped launch Eggo waffles as like they were getting started. So you got the business side. And then my mom is a nurse, and she's very science oriented. She was the type that when I was younger, before the internet, guys, before you could just go to Google or now ChatGPT and look something up, I'd say, hey, Mom, what's this or what's that? Or how do I do this? And she'd say, let's go look it up. And so that instillment of curiosity and knowing that I could go figure things out for myself, right, was there from the very beginning. And I think you take a business and health and science and care oriented from two parents, and that's kind of where now here I am, and I'm blending those two in what I do. But that was the beginning of my mom had nursing books and science books, and I still have them in my library today. And so I grew up with those there. And then as I got into college, I really thought, okay, I'm going to go into the medical element of some sort. For a little bit, I was pre-med and headed down that trajectory, and that altered. And I was having this, like, what am I going to do with myself moment. My mom said, you've always loved skin. You've always had your own skin issues. Why don't you go to esthetician school? And that had not been a thought I had thought for myself. That really came from my mom's encouragement. And so there I was, an 18-year-old kid, going to pursue my undergraduate degree and going to esthetician school at night. And then getting into realizing, okay, what do I love about this? It's where do I want to go with this? And I knew during that time I really wanted to stay the course on the medical side. And so after I got my esthetician's license, I looked at joining a dermatology practice. And thankfully, there was a wonderful man, he's since passed, Dr. Coverman, who took me in, took a chance on a young kid, and took a chance on a kid who was also going to school at the same time. So I needed a flexible schedule. And that really began my career in what we now know as the aesthetics industry. But it was a dermatology practice that was really what I think about from skin as like the two ends of someone's spectrum when they're seeking advanced help. usually starts with acne, right? Or
Yep.
now these days it's eczema and rashes, but
Yeah.
then it was really acne and then skin cancer. So we were at an acne clinic because we had 3 high schools around us, and he's a Mohs surgeon. So obviously we saw quite a bit of skin cancer, and having a lab within the clinic, I always thought was so cool, because at any given time you'd walk through the lab and there's, some sort of something in a petri dish being ready to get looked at to figure out what it is. And that was so influential on me at such a young time getting started in my career.
That is really cool and makes so much sense now, seeing the little pieces that come out and what you're currently doing. How long did you spend with your hands on patients in the treatment room? Yeah.
I was with almost 7 years, so right around 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. That's quite a bit of experience in the treatment room. You learn the skin inside and out in that period of time too. Like I feel like that's a length long enough that you see a little bit of everything come through.
It's such a unique time too. So, here I'm never afraid to share my age and kind of how long I've been doing this. So when I started in clinic, it was 1999. So yes, it was the 1900s. But it also, as I say that for some of your listeners, that was a time when Botox Cosmetic was now becoming, was getting into the hands of physician clinics, and that was starting to become a thing. So for me, timing was, you saw medical clinics creating this arm of what we now know as aesthetics. And Botox really started that. And then Restylane came along. So you had these injectable things, and then lasers were becoming more advanced. And so my start in the industry came at such a great time, because it's really when that aesthetics waiting room was starting to be built. The concept of med spas really wasn't there yet. It was 5 years out from when those were really going to start.
Yeah. So I feel like we're somewhat in a chapter of that happening in the industry right now too, which I definitely want to get into in a little bit.
For sure. That evolution is coming.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely coming. And I feel like that's a huge piece of the story and things that we talk about too all the time. But before we get into that, so you were in the treatment room, and then what was your transition onto more of the business side?
Yeah. So, as I was figuring out, what am I gonna actually get my undergraduate degree in? So I did it in business, and I kept my sciences. So I did a minor in health science, just to have a generalization there. And it allowed me to stay close to all the science classes that I really loved and enjoyed. And my transition out of clinic came as just sort of life moves. My husband, I had gotten married during my time in clinic, and my husband had received an offer to be promoted within the organization he was working in, which required us to move to Tampa. So we're living in Orlando. We're UCF alumni there in Orlando, working in clinic in that area. And we moved to Tampa, and that was like, okay, how am I going to do this? So believe it or not, because I loved dearly so much the dermatologist that I worked for, we didn't have a backfill. I would drive the 2 hours back and forth to make sure patients were taken care of, and that, that was kept going until we found the right person to replace. And so that gave me some time to think about what was it that I really wanted to do next. And in the clinic, we had brought on this line called Skin Medica, which pretty much people know now because it's been around for decades. And that was such a unique line because it was bringing an innovative approach to delivering information and telling ourselves what to do, right? To giving ourselves signals on how to repair and how to be healthier, and through growth factor technology. And we were a top clinic. And so I stayed in connection with the group there who were my reps and that kind of different people that I met. And anyway, I'm making this very long. I did a little stint in pharmaceuticals focused on acne. So I had spent some time there, and eventually within a year, I found myself running the Tampa market for SkinMedica. So I was really boots on the ground. I was a representative in the Tampa market, helping to expand SkinMedica and teaching people about growth factors.
And it all came very organically. It was just a passion of SkinMedica. And how long were you at SkinMedica for?
Gosh, so I was there for, I think the 7 is starting to have some theme there. So I was with SkinMedica through the Allergan acquisition. And so 20, I think close to 7 years. Yeah. It was right around that time frame.
That's a great number.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Of all numbers, that's a great one. And then from the acquisition, how long were you there after the acquisition, or did you transition?
A year and a half or so, I think. But what's interesting there is as you're in the industry, you see brands evolve too, right? So if you're in clinic and you're working with these different brands, you get to watch how brands will evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And so SkinMedica, while I was there, had acquired a brand called Colorescience, right? And so Colorescience had joined the SkinMedica brand portfolio prior to the Allergan acquisition. So that's where I got introduced to Colorescience as a brand.
You know what? Timelines are all making sense now because I knew all those pieces, but I think I always thought Colorescience came in later, but that makes sense. So Colorescience was already a piece of that puzzle, and then it kind of built out.
About a year prior. Just not quite a year prior to.
Yeah. So then you hopped over to Colorescience, still under the same head a little bit, but different.
Yeah. So
different wing. Different way.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. So I stayed with SkinMed. So Allergan came in and did the acquisition, which was great for the SkinMedica brand. And they were going, but we don't really know what to do with this Colorescience brand. And so they allowed the investors and everybody to spin it out. So I stayed on with SkinMedica and Allergan for about a year while Colorescience, Mary was Fisher, spinning. Our CEO, was taking that out and getting that reestablished, and I joined them about a year after.
Okay, and what was your first position with Colorescience?
Pretty much what I'm doing now, really. So I joined as Vice President of Professional Business.
That's incredible. Yeah. And tell us all what that means from your day-to-day and kind of what your passion is behind that role, because there is so much passion in what you do on a day-to-day basis. Can you give us just like an overview of everything?
And titles change, right? So now my title is Executive Vice President of Sales and Education. But ultimately, I think what that means is my job, my role is to take science, education, and put that into a cohesive commercial strategy for success, right? Like that's ultimately what I'm bringing. And my background, as we talked about, helps tie those two together, where you're taking, a knowledge of science, of skin biology, of knowing how important skin education is to just the industry at large, but now more than ever, the consumer as well, the person who's using our product every day.
Yeah.
And then tying the business element to that. So I think, my background kind of set me up really well for this.
It absolutely did. Yeah. And I see that just as you're interacting with people, whether it's on a trade show floor to in more of a professional like boardroom setting, you're the same person with the same knowledge base, and you are very forthcoming with your knowledge too. You are not a gatekeeper whatsoever. If you have an idea, you throw it out there. And I love that and respect that so much about you, because something that it's something that I wish I could shout from the rooftops daily is, if you have an idea, put it out there, because even if somebody takes that, you're going to have another idea and it's going to better somebody. Yeah. You might not be the person to carry out that idea, or if you put that idea out there, somebody might come along and say, wait, I want to be in on this. Let's do this. And it becomes even greater and you don't realize it. And that's something that you are just overflowing with ideas constantly. And I love being on the receiving end of that too. When you throw them out,
that's good.
I love it. It's been so transformative for me as a professional, but also for my business as well. If we're looking at it selfishly, but then also for what I'm pouring into my business. So with all of that though, you've seen a lot from being in practice to seeing other practices. What would you say is that recipe for success in practice that you've seen throughout your years? Because I think we're all looking for at least the blueprint that then we can make our own of success. What is that blueprint for success?
You said a couple important things there. I think one of the first things that you said that's important is make our own. And some of the best, and it's how do you define best, right? So is it, we make the most money the most profitably possible? Is it that we've built a team that's helped build our clinic brand and everybody actually likes to work together, right? That's the definition of success. Is it, that we're able to expand our footprint and grow the number of locations and so that we can help more people? I think all of those things contribute to success. So it's kind of like how do you define it? But the clinics that have been able to maybe do all of those things where they're a profitable business that's generating great revenue. They have a great team who's stuck around, so they're not always, they're not always turnover. Yeah, they're not always having consistent turnover, and maybe they've been able to grow their presence, and whether that's through another location or, as you and I were talking about, the growth of omni-channel, where brands are now having their own websites, but they're able to expand their footprint because they're doing virtual consultations and they're helping people come in that way. The clinics that I have seen that have done the best through the years are the ones who do say we're going to make this our own. And I was just talking to someone the other night, and last night actually, and she was saying, I asked her, like, I'm in awe of what you continue to create. And she's like, it started from the very beginning when we set our standard. So it's like Beyond Skin.
Yeah.
Right? You guys you set that standard with your name even. Beyond Skin helps me know part of what you stand for. But when you take a look at your clinic, you guys have developed in a way where you're growing, and you're growing in a way where the individuals within the clinic are growing professionally and personally. And that brand growth for what Beyond Skin is meant to be is growing at the same time. So there's a set of standards that you've identified and a goal that you've set out, and then everything else comes in pieces into that. And I think the clinics who really do that well and don't lose sight of that are the ones who say they're not caught up in what everybody else is doing out there, right? They're focused on what are we setting out to do? What are we setting out to accomplish? And what's most important to us and how we accomplish it. And so that focus of how we accomplish it is always at the forefront, at the top of what they do, because it informs every decision that they make, what brands they bring in, how they're going to create protocols, the patient-client experience that they're aiming to create, and that sets the true standard for all. And they made it their own.
That is, wow. I feel like you really just explained exactly what our core principles are at Beyond Skin Aesthetics too. I always say to everyone, my mom is like the circus leader of all of us, and she keeps the balls rolling and she keeps us all doing what we're supposed to do. But I always compliment her. And for everybody, I would say my mom, but for Kim Poor, she's behind the scenes. She always is like, I'm the invisible one back here, put their faces up there, but she really is the mastermind behind the magic that we have at Beyond Skin. And I always say she's the person that can see around the corner. So we can all be growing as professionals and focused on what our goal is. And it really is that how we think of what do we want our lives to look like and what do we want our work environment to look like. And if a dollar amount comes with that, then of course we are definitely goal oriented and we always like to set that. But it comes down to, are we in a phase of life where we want to be able to be closer to that clock in, clock out? I don't think you can ever get to that point, but or can we get closer to that? Or is it all consuming because we're reaching to this next place? Or is it when we're at work, we want to be focused on this topic or that topic? And we kind of evolve into what our goal is for what our life looks like and what our business looks like. And that might not be a dollar amount. It might not be, it might not even be environment. It might be a dollar amount at the time, but but that is constantly shifting. And I always say that having my mom who can see around the corner, but then having my brain works in a very marketing brand awareness way. So having me focused on that, Katie's mind works so clinically. So having her focused on that. Dr. Malumba is so fantastic at functional medicine. He just, it's in his core being. So it just comes out so naturally in this blend between Eastern and Western medicine. So of course he's going to be the head of that. Alicia, I am definitely biased, but she is the best injector in Columbus, and nobody knows it. Like she's like this little secret that we have that we're trying not to, that we don't want it to be a secret, but she's just like, if you get a needle in her hand, they're true. I have yet to see somebody that is as skilled as Alicia is with a needle. And so we all have our lanes, but we work together to reach that ultimate goal. And I think that the most powerful thing that you just said in that of what the success is how you're doing it and that team and the people that you have around you to lift you up and keep moving forward. And I think the other thing that you mentioned there is having that checkpoint of and that realignment of, okay, what do we want right now? And where are we going? Because the industry evolves
so fast.
24 hours, it's going to be different.
Yeah,
so it's
so fast.
You have to have that person that looks around the corner or at least is a little bit on the pulse with it. But then you also have to just be so focused on what you're doing and not concerned about the rest. I would love to talk about that kind of omni-channel concept because that's something that I hear a lot from people that are considering who their partners are or how they're going to find success with their partners. And that's something that I'm very passionate about because I'm on the front end of working with our partners in those relationships. But one of the concerns that I feel like is thrown out that I would love to talk about and reframe in people's minds. So everyone, please have an open mind during this part of the conversation because I think that this is a big question that I'm about to ask, but something that I've heard a lot from many different brands is, well, I'm not sure I want to partner with them because they're direct to consumer.
Okay.
And I would love to talk about what direct to consumer means and the benefits as well as maybe the workarounds or I'm sure you've heard it too of what these concerns are. So let's just talk about it from a big standpoint. Colorescience has always been direct to consumer. Yeah. Always.
So I think we should back up a moment too and realize why we're all doing this in the first place, which is we're all direct to consumer, right? Like we all get up every day and work to do what it is our part and what we're doing to help someone feel better about themselves or to have healthier skin or to be more confident. So we're all doing for that is the big why, right? Like that's the big reason. So in that sense, we're all direct to consumer and what we should all be thinking about the end consumer. If we're not, we're missing the point.
Yeah.
But in terms, I hear what you're saying. So I think this is a great conversation for right now because we were talking about how the industry continues to evolve, but business evolves too, right? And the evolution of social media, now we have AI coming into this. This is something that whether you are a brand, a clinic, hopefully you're a clinic, you're thinking about yourself as a brand as well. We all have to be mindful of, which is people are getting information faster than ever before. They're able to access things faster than ever before. So we all have to think about how we're showing up in that. And then again, why we're doing this in the first place. And from a brand standpoint, Colorescience has always considered ourselves, what the term now is omni-channel, meaning that we show up in a professional clinic setting. We have our own website where you can access information as well as access products. In 2017, we formalized our stance on Amazon because it helped clean up an environment where pricing was all over the place and things were being sold by who knows what. And so we had an opportunity to clean that up and have a very standard brand presence there. In 2016, we were in spa with Nordstrom, right? And that's been part of where we've been for a very long time. And now that evolution is now Skin Spirit, a medical spa is inside Nordstrom, right? It's amazing. Like this integration of how things are. Like I think that's where you're going. That's the new wave of where the industry is headed, where you see we came from a spot where you had your dermatology clinic and you had your plastic surgery clinic. And then the mid to early 2000s, you now had med spa, but then you had these like functional health over here. And now those are all becoming one clinic where I can go see and have my aesthetics done. I can have my functional health done. I can have, in some cases, I can see my derm and I can see plastic surgery if I need that type of intervention, all in one clinic.
Yeah.
Right. And so everything is getting integrated in that way. And we as a brand are well positioned to get integrated into all that because we are meeting people earlier in their journey and helping them connect them to professionals and how we do things. And that brand awareness is helpful for everybody. But I think back to the question of like, gosh, guys, where is Colorescience? We are a clinical professional skincare brand, right? We do exist in professional clinics. That means derm, that means plastic, that means med spa, it means esthetician-owned clinics, and it means wellness clinics as well. We have a digital presence, and now we're supporting partners that are creating this new integration where maybe there's lines that are getting blurred, and I don't think that's something to be scared of. I think it's something for us all to embrace, because at the end of the day, we are all direct to consumer, and our whole goal is to help someone get to the best information for them and get them the best products, the best treatment interventions for them to have the best ultimate outcome. And then it's kind of figuring out, well, where are we? So back to what do we want to be? Beyond skin is beyond skin. You don't only do skin, right? You have functional, you have these integrated parts to who you are. And so that's something for those who are thinking about creating their own clinic, or maybe you're already in their clinic and they're thinking, gosh, we're at a pivot point where we want to expand and we want to bring these other things in. The number of clinics now bringing in peptides and expanding beyond traditional aesthetics is rapidly growing, right? And so with all of that, we all have to be open to the fact that not everything is going to fit in the box that it used to fit in so nicely. And that's okay. That's how we grow and evolve, and innovation comes out of that. Yeah.
I think too, okay, there's so much in that that is so important that you just said. I think brand awareness is huge, and I definitely want to touch on that. But before we move away from like the Nordstrom topic, I think that people's perception is Colorescience is selling in Nordstrom, where really it's Skin Spirit is now in Nordstrom. This brand has now expanded to where they're available in Nordstrom. So what does Colorescience's, I guess, presence inside of Nordstrom and Amazon actually look like versus I think what the perception of just being like, oh, they're in Nordstrom, oh, they're on Amazon. Like what actually is the presence?
Sure. So for Nordstrom, we're on Nordstrom.com, right? And then within Skin Spirit, the medical spa is like inside, right? So we are inside the physical locations there with those. We are not necessarily inside every physical location, if that's helpful there. And then with Amazon, it's all digital. But our presence there is very much as a professional brand. When we started, they called it like Nordstrom Beauty. And that was a way for, if you were invited into that, that was a way for you to control your brand. So your pricing, and everybody else who was trying to have their own pop-up shops and sell it, we were able to make that go away. And so that was a huge element. Now it's, for those of you who don't know, take a look at where people are searching. People are searching for skincare on Amazon. Doesn't mean they always buy there.
It's a search engine.
It's a search. And so they're looking for things to find. And as sun protection and awareness there, it's also an educational opportunity too. It's grown and morphed into that. And becoming more. So yes, we sell on Amazon as Colorescience, as the brand. We are amping up our education there too. And so hopefully you'll start to see people not just going there to discover, but also looking to find out like, gosh, this is what mineral sunscreen actually means. And what we have to realize as an industry is, as much as we'd like to think everybody comes to the aesthetics industry, they don't. There are billions of people who are out there trying to find their skin health information in various ways. And so if we can help get them to credible information and credible, moving them towards a practice, a professional that can help them find what's right for their skin, that's a win. But you don't do that just by saying, you've got to show up where they're first showing up.
And educate, but be present, and having that brand awareness is huge. I spoke at a event at Ohio State University a couple of weeks ago, and as I was talking about Colorescience, I said, "Okay, has everybody seen the color changing sunscreen that it comes out white?" And all of them were like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I saw that on TikTok." And so it's
a great example of where education,
right? So I actually have a complete sidebar question. Does Colorescience work with influencers directly? Because I think that one of the brand awareness pieces with Colorescience is a couple of years ago, and I don't even remember who the influencer was.
Tatiana.
Was it Tatiana? Yeah. Yes. It picked up and it spread like wildfire. I mean, it just took off. Talk about a viral moment, because once it went viral with one person, other people started trying it. It became popular to share it. It's such a cool transformative thing. So is Colorescience working with influencers directly? Because I've seen a lot of influencers link to Amazon storefront, or is that more of they're picking up on it because they love the product?
It's both. It's both. Yeah. So usually when you see someone linking to a specific place that's not the brand, that's usually they've picked up on it and love it. And maybe they aren't a hopefully if they're skin health professional, they're saying, come to our web, come to their own clinic website. But those who maybe just have a following because they love skincare and they love fashion and they love beauty and they've picked up the product and they're talking about it. Yeah. You'll see them go to various different places. And that's not usually something that we've done. Okay. And then you see others where we only work with those who genuinely love the brand. We don't hey, we're going to pay you a bunch of money, talk about it, right? Even when there's some massive influencers out there that have millions of followers, and even when Michaela picked it up, that wasn't us. That was purely organic, purely her on her own. We didn't, pay for that type of spot. Then there are some where we've developed a relationship and they love it so much, like Kayla, and she loves to talk about it. And so we've tried, different things where she'll put together some fun, educational, here's how you apply from her perspective and get the best.
Get ready with me.
Like a get ready with me. And then she'll link back to our website or something like that. And that is a collaboration. And the collaborations where it's a brand collaboration, you'll usually see now the brand plus that individual, right? Because you get a better
true
reach.
Collaboration on the channel.
You get a better reach. So we do a little bit of both, but most of the stuff that you're talking about, that happened organically, and that was not. It just kind of picked up and took off.
For me, I'm always excited when some of my favorite influencers are posting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, that's our stuff. We sell that. I wear that all the time. Wait, I work with them.
And that's a great point. That's something that, as you're thinking about strategy for your clinic and somebody you follow, it's like, great, check out one of my favorites loves this product too. In case you didn't know, we carry it in our clinic. You can get it here. Or
great segue.
We carry it on our website. You can get it here.
Yeah. Where do you see the value in the influencer standpoint, but also just the brand awareness for a practice?
It's huge, right? Because and especially when that was catching on fire, we had clinics calling us and going, we don't carry this, or we don't carry this shade. We need to get it ASAP because people are calling and asking if we have it, right?
Yeah.
So it was driving people into clinic. They were looking around their area, or they're going, oh gosh, because some of the things talked about, some of the content talked about their personal story it wasn't all just fun stuff. There were things that talked about their personal story with skin cancer, or someone that they knew, or, just going to the dermatologist and having a skin check. And so that also helped people kind of think about I should go, or my esthetician said I need mineral SPF. And now they're and
what should I
Flex
use?
is mineral, right?
Yeah.
And so that drove people to reach out to professionals in their area. And so we were having people go, gosh, I need to bring this in. I need to bring this in. People are calling. That's the benefit of brand awareness right there. Is now you not only do the people in your clinic go, oh yeah, she put me on this. This is great. I'm seeing it here and it's reconfirming, but it's also helping drive people coming to you asking for these specific products.
I think that a huge piece of it too, when you're picking your partner, is what are you looking for in a partner, and view it as not a vendor but a partnership. I always say that to people when they're like, "Oh, I have this vendor and this vendor." You can almost rephrase it in your mind and reshape the way that you're thinking about it by just changing the word from vendor to partner, and then viewing it as that. But when I think about who Beyond Skin Aesthetics wants as a partner, we don't just want excellent. I mean, of course, we want excellent products that we can trust.
Yeah, that's kind of table stakes, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that should just be the groundwork of you should trust the products that you're putting into your patient's hands, that it's always going to be consistent. They're going to get results from it, and it's going to reflect well back on you because you're the one giving the recommendation. But what's beyond that? And for us, one of the huge things is the educational opportunities that Colorescience does put forward. So I always say, if you're considering whether or not being a Colorescience partner specifically, I can speak to just the immense opportunities that come from the partnership, because you really do pour into the practices that you partner with.
Right.
And it's a two-way street. It's not just, we're selling your products and you're making money off of us doing all the legwork, but it really is you're putting time and energy into that brand awareness. You're putting into educating us so that we can educate our patients in this changing landscape, because like we've mentioned several times, it changes overnight.
Yeah.
And where the industry is going changes too. So I love the educational piece for that. So thank you for having that. And of course, if that falls under you and you oversee that carry out as well. But one of the things that I have seen shift the biggest recently, well, we've all seen it, is this transition into functional aesthetics, as I call it, but this wellness component that's coming in. And I've been a huge long-term fan, since it is launched, of Barrier Pro Duo. So the cleanser and the moisturizer together. I sing its praises, and especially the cleanser. I've been such a huge champion of Barrier Pro Duo, but there's now a third product that makes it a trio, Barrier Pro Serum Spray. And I have to talk to you about this, because I learned after I became so passionate about it that this is like your brainchild. This was an idea that you had and then worked with your team to really bring it to fruition. So can you talk about where your idea for this came from, what the product is, and how we got it in our hands? Just the whole story. Can you tell us the story of Barrier Pro Serum Spray?
For sure. Yeah. And, to your point on just this like evolution of how we approach skin health, Mary Fisher, our CEO, she's always said something that has stuck with me, which is, your skin is in this constant communication with your outside world and your inside world, right? And it is this thing that will reflect what's going on inside, but it also reflects what's coming at you from the outside world. And I think, thankfully, everyone is starting to approach it in that way versus just like, we've got to create this turnover, or we've got to build this, or we got to do that, and really realizing it's constantly evolving as we evolve, and hormones have a play in that, and all these different factors have an influence on that. And so what is happening as the conversation has moved towards overall health and wellness, and our skin being an important part of that as our largest organ, is that you get people going, well, gosh, my vitamin D levels are low. Maybe I shouldn't wear sunscreen. Yes. Yeah. And so where this all came from was I see an esthetician. Her practice is, did you get to meet Alyssa yet?
No,
Oh,
I
I
haven't
can't
yet.
wait to have you guys get introduced. So her practice, her clinic is called Whole Soul. So she's very much believes like what's going on internally is definitely reflected on the outside too.
In the 30A area, right?
In the yes, that's where I live in the and so we were having this conversation, and she's like, I have clients who they're getting their blood work done, they're getting all these things done, they're very much on the wellness path, and it's sort of trendy to say, I don't need sunscreen because that'll make me deficient in my vitamin D.
Right.
So we got to talking about like different things, supplementation, and is there anything you can do topically for this? And it just got me thinking. And we had our innovation team came together, and we got discussing like, gosh, everybody knows Colorescience for our SPF. We're one of the best well-known SPF brands now. We've really changed how people wear that every day. We certainly don't want people not wearing it because they think that there's a deficiency in vitamin D. How can we help this? How can we support this? And really, is it all just because you're not getting your sun, or is there other factors to this? So we got diving into the research and diving into the concept, and we discovered, there is a peptide. There are some things that we can do. And that got us really, and championing this concept of, okay, we're going to figure out a way to topically support vitamin D production. And why do we care about that? Most people think about it as just an internal function and my levels, and, they don't realize how critical vitamin D is for our skin. Not only, as you have said before, for your regular listeners, as you have said before in your podcast, not only is vitamin D created in the skin, but 90% of what gets created is what gets used by the rest of our body. The other element to add on to that is vitamin D is a cofactor for basically every biological function within our skin. And so when you get that working well and optimized, everything else is going to be a bit more optimized and working more ideal too. So that got us really going, okay, how are we going to approach this? How are we going to apply this? Is it a cream? Is it how are we going to do this? And is it just for the face? So here we go. And we go down this path. And our R&D team, so Trish and the R&D team, we've identified the ingredients. Now we're talking about what kind of format can we put this in. And that's where we landed on. It needs to be a serum because that's the type of treatment level benefits that are being delivered. But is there a way to put this in a format that makes it easier for people to use? There are other parts of the body that you might want to spray it on. And so there we launched this very unique serum treatment that helps to support the skin's activation of vitamin D as well as the synthesis, because you can say, okay, well, I'm not outside as much, or there's other factors that are maybe contributing to the fact that I'm not getting vitamin D producing as much. But it's not just, am I able to activate? Am I able to get it going? But can I properly synthesize it so then it gets to where it needs to go and does what it needs to do more optimally? Yeah. So we looked at two ingredients that do that. So we've got the chronopeptide, and then we've got the plant cell nectar in there that really are able to do that. And then our R&D team and their formulation genius were able to put it in a way that you can mist it on. And so it's just easier to use. It's easier to integrate into your regimen and easier to be layered with everything else. Yeah.
I call it the biohack. Yeah. And I know I said this on before the product officially launched. I was blessed enough to be able to see behind the curtain and get some of this education alongside the Colorescience team. And so at the end of that call, I don't remember who, it might have been you that said, Delaney, you look like you want to say something. Yeah. And I was practically vibrating like the Energizer Bunny. And my favorite part about this, of course, it's like a biohack for your skin. It's getting everything to work the way it needs to. Yeah. But I think it is the coolest thing that Colorescience, who is known for protecting you from the damaging side of the sun, has figured out how to use the sun for good and blend it all together. You've made the sun chic. is basically what has happened here, because we have all of these chic products that make sun protection beautiful and wonderful and a part of daily life, but then also how to use the sun for good, which we all want to do. I think we're all getting in touch with our, crunchy walk, ground ourselves to the earth selves right now. It's definitely, I feel like, a trend that's occurring that I hope stays and becomes just a part of our daily lives. But people are really in touch with the energies around us, and the sun is so important to us, but it also can do some damage. So it's like anything in life. You have to have the good and the bad. And for Colorescience to make the sun chic and be able to use the good and protect from the bad, it is just the coolest thing to me. It is so cool.
I agree. I do. I agree. It's one of those things another reason why I love our industry too is science and research advance. And what we know now is that, guess what, guys? Our skin cells have light receptors. It's not just our eyes. Our skin cells are constantly responding to light throughout the day. And that light signals how our cells respond. And so if we can figure out how to mitigate the signals that turn something into an overproductive hyperpigmentation melanocyte, so that factory gets overproducing. If we can help that, get more optimized and not overproduce, if we can help at, that we talk about it as adaptive response technology. That is the patent that is around Barrier Pro Serum Spray. So this adaptive response is helping our cells start to recognize things sooner, faster, and then respond. And that response element is key because as we age, as we are chronically overexposed, so you're right, the sun is great. Like we don't hate the sun. We love the sun and everything that it does. And at the same time, we know that chronic overexposure can lead to things we don't want, whether it's visible signs of aging or worse, skin cancer, right? Yeah. And so if there's a way to start to, we call it harness that light so that you're getting the benefits of it without the harmful effects, now we're really advancing, right? Now we're really innovating.
Right. I've never thought of it before as basically every molecule in our body has a circadian rhythm. So we talk about
your skin does,
circadian rhythm, but that's what it is. It's
absolutely
thinking about what the balance is and what time of day. And
and we've unfortunately our modern lifestyles have confused that, right? Because we go to bed with our phone in our hand. And we're telling ourselves like, hey, we're still awake, which means you need to still kind of be in defense mode instead of getting into that reparative aspect where so much of skin health can come from regeneration and repair. So we want the defenses, but we don't want our skin to miss out on the reparative element. And so much of that is linked to the light exposure. Am I in daytime? Am I in nighttime? And what type of light am I being exposed to?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I have some rapid fire questions for you. Yes. What are your top 3 favorite Colorescience products?
Okay, so my top 3 right now.
I wouldn't be able to choose.
I know it's tough, but my top 3 right now are Barrier Pro Serum Spray for all the reasons that we've talked to. Pep Up, hands down, is a top 3, and then Flax, of course.
Those are, honestly, I think that I'm kind of in that same exact place right now. Pep Up is having a resurgence of love in my life at the moment.
Wait till you see the new study results too. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. For everybody out there, Pep Up to me is truthfully the best thing for your neck and décolleté. I mean, I know it's for face, neck, décolleté, but I've used a lot of different neck products and I do not see results for people and myself that are even comparable to Pep Up's power. So even if people are choosing not to use it on their face for some reason, using it just on your neck and décolleté is so good. Why do you love Pep Up? Give us the quick rundown.
Give the quick. I think part of it is because when you know the science and you understand it, you fall in love that much more with specific products. But for me, what have I noticed like in my skin when I use Pep Up versus when I don't? There's an element of being able to, because I'm now Friday, I'm 46, right? So I'm now I'm almost level 46. And for me and my skin and some of my genetics, I don't hold on to hydration as much anymore. When I'm using Pep Up, I do. And so, yes, I love the benefits of the collagen rebuilding and there's copper tripeptide in there. So we know from a reparative standpoint, that is fantastic. Yeah. But I love that I'm able to deliver these potent peptides that are doing great, and quote unquote anti-aging benefits, while at the same time getting really great hydration in a way that my skin just holds on to hydration better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All of it. So everybody go try Pep Up. I'll put the link in the show notes for sure to all of those products because you need them if you don't have them already.
And if you're a patient client of Delaney's, you can get it at Beyond Skin.
Yep, absolutely. We ship if you're not local, or if you are local, just stop in, let us know that you're coming and we'll have it ready for you. But we do. We always have it in stock, ready to go. Oh my gosh, I had some rapid fire and now I'm forgetting what they are. I got so distracted.
Sorry.
I get in the products and I could talk about products all day long. Well, what do you feel like is next in aesthetics? What do you see coming down the pipeline?
I think we're all seeing it, right? You've mentioned some of it is the wellness integration into that. Peptides are not, people are like, oh, peptides are trend. They're not trend. They've been around for a very long time. The science has been around for a long time on them. I think what's unique about them now is it's becoming the new injectable. Right. So we've known for a long time peptides are fantastic. Our body produces them. Now we're starting to see the benefits of how we inject them, how we put them on topically with products like Pep Up, and we're getting better and better at how we formulate them and deliver them. And I think that's how we deliver them, both in solutions that we might inject as well as solutions that we put on topically. So we're going to continue to see peptides being a very important part of how we advance. The topic of longevity is right. We're no longer saying anti-aging. We're talking about how long we can stay healthy and at our healthiest. And Dr. Saranya Wiles has coined the term and patented the term skin span. And so we're really looking at not just reversing, but how healthy can we get our skin for how much longer, right? And that's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish. So I think that's really good news because we're moving away from certain looks, like skin looking a certain way or a nose looking a certain way or an aesthetic proportion looking a certain way, and moving in towards the conversation being about our health. So I think that's great. And then this element of individualism, having a routine that is for me and not just trying to use what an influencer said to use or this person said to use, and realizing that, for me and where I am in my health journey and what's going on in my internal world, as well as what I face in my external world, I may need something a little bit different for me right now than what somebody else, than, what my sister is using or what my mom is using or what my best friend is using. And that's important because we are all figuring that out. And now that blood work and other biomarkers we're better able to measure those and figure that out, I think that will continue to work in our favor towards really helping people find what works best for them, and it not just being like, everybody use this particular product. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. The consumer is getting so much smarter and taking that education seriously. The consumer is not just
for sure
impulse buying on a daily basis. There really is some research. And even if it is impulse, there's a quick search of, okay, but why am I buying this? There's thought going behind purchases.
For sure. I was in a clinic the other day and I was just overhearing a conversation. I thought, I was around the corner and I thought, who are they having a conversation with? I thought it was somebody in the industry. It was their patient, but she was talking about her products and talking about how her antioxidant worked and the delivery method of it and stuff. And I was just like, wow, those conversations used to just be amongst skin health professionals. It's not now. It's now with the patients and clients that are coming in too. So yeah.
Yeah. And for a fellow aesthetics geek and beauty geek, I love it. I will talk about it with everybody. So I love that the conversation is spreading a little bit further.
Yeah.
What educational opportunities does Colorescience have down the pipeline and available now? I know there's a new platform.
There's a new platform. So Alicia Merlot, who's our Vice President of Professional Relations, has taken on the endeavor of completely elevating the experience. Well, I should back up. Our Colorescience Professional Academy is an on-demand 24/7 learn when it's good for you type of academy. And we really encourage partners to get in there and to continue to learn. And as you advance, you have the opportunity to get products back so it's great for larger teams too. Yeah. She's advanced that, has made the learning a bit more bite-sized. So these aren't hour-long modules type things. It's more, again, modernizing how we do education. So we have that. We have our Wear What Works programs that you'll be at tomorrow. And you were just talking about people who are maybe students. We invite students. We've had our two programs we've already had this year. We've had aesthetic clinic students come and join, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, we welcome that. You can expect to see us at various trade events where we may have on podium education, or we might be doing like a smaller get together where we're doing education, and then you'll really start to see. So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, and hopefully Alex does not kill me. So Alex Lang, who is our director of global education, is going to be starting. We've had so much requests for this, so she's going to be starting a industry Instagram for professionals only, where it's not open to the public. It's very private, but if you follow her, I hope you do, at the Aesthetics Anonymous. She's a phenomenal educator, and so she'll be doing even more bite-sized typed education related to products, as well as just the in-clinic experience and how we as a brand can support that through the different programs that we offer.
You definitely need to go and follow Alex. You can also go back to season 1, and I have an episode with Alex, and we are attempting to coordinate a second episode with her because we have some updates, and because she is global education, there are some new availabilities for different filters for sunscreens too. So I've been like, you've got to come in. We got to do this. We got to talk about this.
That. Yeah, yes. Absolutely. So we'll be doing that. And then one of the things that we've talked about as an overall brand is how do we bring, because the consumer is elevating and looking to have these conversations and so curious about what ingredients do and how they work and where what does this clinical study actually mean, that we're going to be elevating our website as well as our Instagram too, where we're still going to keep it light as we are as a brand, but you'll start to see us providing more of that. And hopefully that's helpful for you as professionals too, to say, I want you to watch this quick video, or maybe you take that and you use it on your website or you use it on your social.
I love that. One of my favorite parts about partnering with Colorescience is that there are people behind the brand that you know who you're getting, and the type of partnership that you're going to get because of the integrity of the people behind the brand. And I believe that the integrity of the people behind the brand are more important than the products. Yeah. And so that is something that I'm glad that's still going to show through, but also as the brand is growing and evolving, so are these opportunities to connect with Colorescience, whether it's via web, socials, in person, all of the things.
All the stuff.
I love that. Can you hint at things that might be coming down the pipeline product-wise, or is it too early?
No. I can share some things that we have. So Skin Cancer Awareness Month happens every May, although it should be every month,
day.
Right?
Yep.
Every day is what we talk about in terms of protecting your skin health. And to support that, people have said, we love No Show so much. Can you make it in a body product? So that will be coming out this year ahead of Skin Cancer Awareness Month, or kind of right around that time frame. Yeah. And then we also have a body glow that will be coming out to the market. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can't wait. Okay.
And then, we didn't talk about this, but one of the things that has really been something that people recognize our brand for is our eye products, our Total Eye 3-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some things lined up to be expanding that towards the end of the year and into next year. And I don't know, maybe something for the brow.
Oh, I cannot wait for that. I feel like we've been knocking down the doors of, okay, we have lash. Can something brow come, please?
Yeah.
I love that. I'm such a brow girl too, that this is right up my alley.
I think you're going to be excited. And always multifunctional. That's what we do. It's not just one thing. We're trying to make it easier for people to do the things that they should do and then want to do as part of their daily routine.
Yeah, so, it just becomes a part of daily life.
They get more.
Integrates.
Yeah, they get more out of it.
I love it. It integrates and elevates. That should be our phrasing for everything, right? I love to ask all of my guests on the Bright Side of Beauty podcast the same question, and you have not gotten this question yet.
Okay.
I don't think I reminded you that this was coming. Are you prepared for this question?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Heather, what is something that is beautiful to you?
Yeah, I did think about it a little bit. So, there's so many things. Alex did a post on something that brightened her day, like simple things, and it made me think about like something so beautiful as like a flower right before it's getting ready to bloom. Like we all appreciate a full bloom of something, but there's definitely something to be said, whether it's a flower or it's a person right before they're getting ready. Like you can see that this is about to happen for them and they're going to be stepping into that moment. I think that's a beautiful thing in nature as well as us as human beings. So that's one thing. And then I think the other thing that's beautiful is something that you and I were talking about before we went live. And it's something that you stepped into. And that kind of ties into that blooming element, which is really just getting comfortable and owning your own voice. And when you see a person who steps into that, it's really awesome. Like there is a light about that. What do the kids say? That's aura or something. I shouldn't try to do that. I shouldn't try to do that. I shouldn't try to do that. But there's something really special about that for a person. And I think that is just absolutely beautiful because the impact of that has a trickle effect. It has a ripple effect on the people that they interact with and help to inspire. So so you're beautiful, Miss Delaney.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, what a perfect sentiment for spring too. As we're stepping into spring. I feel like it's already spring, but it did snow yesterday. So
crazy,
but that's a beautiful thought as we're stepping into spring and we're encouraging others and championing others as well as they're stepping into it. And I think self-reflecting too and acknowledging the growth that we've had on a personal level. And that's something I've definitely been working on in the last year. So I love that reminder to, stand in your own voice and also acknowledge in others as they're about to bloom. And I mean, we're all in this together and we're so much better when we are pushing each other and building each other up and helping to prune and fertilize at the exact same time, like we can't just cut people. I know, you can't just cut people down, but really helping to just build them and cultivate that growth all together. Yeah. I love that so much. It has been such a pleasure to have you on.
The pleasure is all mine.
I feel like this has flown by and there's so much more that we could talk about, but I felt like that was just a good little wrapping point for us. So you're going to have to come back.
I would love to. I would be honored
for sure. Before we officially go though, where can people connect with you if they want to just give you a little, oh my gosh, I loved this episode, or they have ideas? Where can they connect with you in Colorescience?
Yeah. So for Colorescience, Colorescience.com,
Colorescience
Instagram, Colorescience LinkedIn. For me personally, I'm on LinkedIn, Heather Goodchild. And then I also have an Instagram account. Don't judge it. It's really like, It's
your personal page.
It's my personal page. So you'll see a lot about our family on there as well. But it's Heather.Goodchild. And we welcome. And you can email me too if you like to do that. It's, Goodchild at Colorescience.
Not to overwhelm you when you're at these different events, but of everybody in the industry, I think that Heather is the most approachable too. Oh. So if you see her at an event or something, walk right up. And honestly, she'll probably walk up to you before you walk up to her and introduce herself. But you are just such a joy. And I just love being in your orbit, my friend.
Oh, likewise.
This has been great.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, friends. Well, I'm going to put all the details down in the show notes that we mentioned today, and we will see you next week on the Bright Side of Beauty podcast.